And here we are, right on time, as usual. 6:03 or 4. They're getting used to it to where they used to make fun of us for it, and now we really want to mess them up. We come on like 3 minutes early. We got Troy Biddle with us tonight. He
Hello.
blessed us with his presence, even though Chris Powell got the first interview.
Wasn't too long ago either.
No, I know. It just came out today, actually.
You're
Today?
right.
It came out
yesterday.
today.
Yesterday, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So all I can say is I didn't know that, so I'm not getting his sloppy seconds trying to be like him. I heard it, and I'm like, oh, man, because we've already decided to come on, and I was like, oh, shoot, and I heard it today. It was a good one, though. You talked about fitness, which no houndsman talks about because we're all fat and lazy, and like Chris said, we eat our beanie weenies and all of our junk food, Dr. Peppers.
Right.
So I don't think a lot of them. I don't see a lot of them drinking as much anymore. I think they all vape. They don't even smoke cigars, but they all vape, which I'm out of. I am out of cigars. So I'm down in Phoenix. All my stuff's in Sholo, and it got ordered at Sholo. So I'm cigarless tonight. But we got to thank Value Pack Dog Food for sponsoring us. I always forget to do that. Who else? Cold Strike Gear, which is Dustin. And we all know Dustin. Even Troy knows Dustin. You met him at the hound sale there. And
yes, sir.
Not Durango. What was that? What's that called?
Hesperus. Yeah, down around Hesperus.
Yep. So, and we crossed paths probably 100 times. And, we never met. Even Chris was like, man, we've been all over the place. It's weird how you bump into people and you watch them all over. And we crossed paths at the auction. And then I just started texting you on TikTok, actually.
Right.
And that's why I brought you on. We'll talk about fitness a little bit, just so I could be cool like Chris. But I want to get into dog manners. I think that's why I originally texted you. I'm like, hey, you want to come on? He said, for what? I said, dog manners.
Sure.
Because your dogs are great. And you've only been in hounds. Well, you said something about 4 years.
4 years is how long I've been here in Durango.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's how long I've basically had the lion and bear hounds. But I grew up with beagles. My parents had field trial beagles since I was probably in fifth, fifth grade, up until I went to college. And they had several field champion beagles. We lived in Indiana, and I did a lot of training of other people's beagles, starting them when I was probably 10, 11, 12 years old. They had a little 1 acre starting pen. And I got $30 a month to start a beagle. And most of them would start pretty quick, but then you had some that were pretty tough. I don't think they turned out real good after that.
Just like every other dog in any world, birds, because I've raised labs, I've raised Shar-Peis. I'm gonna tell you what, if you ever want a Shar-Pei, punch yourself in the face, because they're the meanest, dirtiest dogs. I mean, they're mean. I mean, you're talking like 8-week-old, 2 months, 3 months, just big fights in the kennel.
Oh wow!
They're just mean, and they're all skin. So when you're trying to pull dogs off that with a lot of skin, man, it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig. So
my mom and dad. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So what part of Indiana are you from?
I grew up in Frankfort from 6th grade on. And in 1989, I moved down to Terre Haute, Indiana. And I was in Terre Haute area. I actually lived right across the state line in Illinois in the Wabash River bottoms for about 20 years before we moved out here. So like 2001, I moved to Illinois, and it was only 18 miles to my office in Terre Haute, Indiana. So we were close, but I moved over there for deer hunting and duck hunting and stuff like that. I had a lab at that time, and I started seeing the giant deer that were there, and that's pretty much I started managing the property for that. I moved over there really just to duck hunt because it was in the river bottoms, but It was just phenomenal deer hunting, just giant whitetail. So I did a lot of whitetail hunting over those 20 years, and I coon hunted too.
I'm
Had
gonna
a
say you
neighbor
did a
that,
lot of coon hunting.
yeah, we had a neighbor there that had a walker, an older walker dog, and then he and I bought a red bone, little small female, and we hunted quite a bit. And we even bought some fur. I trapped there. We started having EHD real bad in 2006, 2007 on the whitetail, and then I started trapping coyotes again. They raised some cattle there, and I always trapped as a boy. I learned from a guy that was a professional trapper down in Indianapolis, and they were having trouble with the coyotes and the having calves and stuff. So I started doing that, and then we started coon trapping, and then we were coon hunting too, and I really enjoyed the coon hunting. And actually, the furs back around that time weren't too bad. We'd probably take 2,000, 3,000 of them a year to the sale up north, and some of those coons were bringing $30, stuff like that still then, but it still wasn't like in the 80s when I was in high school. Prices were pretty awesome back then. But you pretty well had the river bottoms. I mean, there's so much territory there to coon hunt, and everybody let you. It wasn't a big deal to get permission.
Well, you guys had a lot of. You guys have not had, but have. Have you seen have you been back there lately? Like, have you seen a decrease in the last 40 years?
When I was there the last several years I was there, it's just crazy the amount of coons that are there. People don't kill them. They just don't. They don't trap them. They don't. A lot of them don't kill them with the dogs because the prices weren't very good. But I started trapping around my property just because of keeping them off the turkeys and stuff like that, the eggs and stuff.
Yeah.
And when we probably 4 or 5 years there, I probably coon hunted there about 10 years, but for 4 or 5 years we hit them pretty hard, and the prices were pretty decent. And they just needed to be thinned down. I mean, you'd look out in the field if there was a cut cornfield. I mean, I had a little 6-acre corn plot, and I'd put beans in it some years. But if I had corn in there, there'd be 15, 20 raccoons out in that field of an evening.
Looked like a Christmas tree when you light it up.
Yeah, and I was like a quarter mile from the Wabash River. So, they'd come a long ways, and it wasn't anything to go out and catch 8 or 10 raccoons in an evening, with the dogs.
I don't think people realize that how far those coons travel. I've caught them on the roads, tracked them on the roads, and it's like a mile up the road. I've been out in the middle of forest where there's like nothing, and treat a coon in the middle of a forest, like nothing around. So it's like, what are you doing out here?
Right.
So,
yeah, and they're just so thick. Everywhere you go, there creeks, whatever, there's just raccoons everywhere.
Yeah, not here.
They don't manage them. They just don't manage them much anymore.
Well, I got a friend in Oklahoma even, and sends pictures of a corn feeder, and it looked like ticks on a hound. It looks like ticks on a res dog. There's so many on it.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, to train a pup, I don't know if it's good or bad if you have too many coons where they don't have to work too hard, but it sure would make them gamey.
Right.
I wish we had like that. I wish we had somewhere you could go with coons or something thick.
It's funny you said that, Derek, because I just found a place this weekend that's loaded.
I got a puppy. I need to take some walks in that place. We can talk about that.
No, I mean there's a trail cutting the ground of them. I'll send you some pictures. But mainly what I wanted you on for is your dog manners.
Sure.
I think my dogs listen. I had a dog get off. I got home. She was just hanging around. It's not like she went wild. And then I had another dog I went to feed, and I went in the house and I got home, went out, and she was gone. And I think she had got off, and my brother put her on another chain on their side. But I got pretty good manners. But your dogs, you spend a lot of time with them, I imagine.
Yeah, I do. About every day. I exercise them every day. Usually what I do in the morning, and I've been going and training puppies in the morning, going down to New Mexico and taking a couple dogs. And then we're taking 3 dogs of my buddies, and training down there. But I'll get up early in the morning. I've got the little puppies right now too. So I've been feeding them. They're weaned now, and then I just let the dogs run for 15, 20 minutes while I'm cleaning kennels, and then I put their food in there. I usually run them a couple miles after that, and then when we come back, they know their food's there. But I think the reason my dogs tend to listen so well is it's just time with them. Like you said, it's just repetition, day in, day out. They know we're going somewhere fun, whether we're going hunting, whether we're going exercising. I can recall them real well, which is great if you're, hunting with horses or mules. And, some guys, I just say this way. And if I need to, you just yell it a little louder, get their attention, and basically just means come here. And they're real good about that. Very seldom have to tone them or shock them or anything. I've got, the collars on high. If I have to shock them, I'm going to shock them. I mean, if they're going to a highway or something like that. But I just, I think that the time with them, spent with them, and when we get back, they know where their kennels are. They know they've got food in there, and they enjoy their kennel. It's a fun place for them to be. They know the food's there. And I think they don't mind going back in there and spending their time there. It's kind of their space because they know tomorrow we're going to go do something else. And, I've seen guys with coon dogs back home and that the dogs don't get off the chain. They get off once a month to go coon hunting, or every 2 weeks. They get fed and watered and taken care of. They just don't get the type of exercise and stuff.
They don't get the attention. I imagine I could tell by your dogs, and I know because I do it, is you probably talk your dogs like a human.
I do. Yeah.
And I've noticed
every day.
Yeah. I mean, so when I'm down in Southern Arizona, I'm just in a little trailer at my parents' house when I work down here, but I have 10 barrels around my trailer, like all the way around my trailer. And if they're not here, and I kind of want to start off with your physical because it goes into mental, but even when they're not here, like I feel lonely.
Right.
Because I don't have when I'm here, I walk through, when I get home, I pet them, when I feed them, I talk to them, and I'll usually sit on their barrel. My dogs are on chains down here. My dogs are on chains, and I noticed you had dog food when you let your dogs go. And when we get back from hunting or anything, same thing is we call them the chain, we put them on the chain and we feed them.
Right.
And they know, like you, they know what they're going to get when they get home, and then talking to them. I think when you talk to them like a human being, like just like a normal person, I think they typically understand you and they know your voice and they know when you're mad. I can raise my voice and they're all like, give you the side eye, like, oh shit,
right,
we shouldn't have done that.
No, exactly.
So I noticed your dogs. That's why I felt you did that with your dogs.
I do. I talk to them all the time, and I'm retired now, and they have really filled a big void when I came out here.
Let's go into that because you were on Chris Powell's talking about fitness,
right?
Like most people. So you were behind a desk.
Yep, for 32 years.
You had bad health from
right.
eating out every day, being behind a desk.
Yep.
And then you kind of said, oh, crap, I got to change my life. And you sold your business and retired. You got over to where you are now,
right,
which gave you more time. But then you had to start physically to get yourself in mental shape.
Right.
Close on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I used to come out elk hunting in Colorado in my 20s and 30s, and I can remember how tough it was back then. And when I got here, I was probably 215 pounds and had a little bit of a belly, and just moving stuff into the house and things. I was getting out of breath, and I'm like, this is crazy.
Well, you're at 7,500 feet now too.
Exactly. Yeah. Right at 7,500 feet at the house. And so I started going out. I've got a buddy that's been a houndsman his whole life. He learned from his grandfather, and he's well known in this area. His nickname's Rooster, so that's what I'll call him. He's had some health issues, so he can't drive and do some things physically that it takes to get up in the mountains and run around. But we started going out on the weekends and taking his dogs down in New Mexico and running running lions, and I found out real quick. I mean, it was tough and it was intimidating. The country was, I mean, it was tough, big cliffs and boulders, and I started working out because I knew if I was going to enjoy it and have fun and get good at it, I was going to have to get myself fit and be able to do the things that the dogs needed to do and be able to get to the dogs and stuff like that. So I started working out probably 4 or 5 days a week then, and it was pretty slow because I wasn't very fit. I think I could do 4 pull-ups when I started, and they weren't very good ones.
That's with the milk crate.
Yes, exactly. I was out of shape, and my health wasn't the greatest. I was on some medicines and stuff, and went to a natural doctor here, got some DNA testing done. I was off any medicines in a couple months. And then I just kept working out, and I got to where I really enjoyed it. I saw progress. I started going in the mornings early to where I could do it consistently. And now I pretty well work out every day, 7 days a week. And I may take a day off here or there. If I'm going to go run dogs and be, walking quite a bit with the dogs, then I won't work out those days. But I kind of do the dogs the same way. I want to have them fit. I need to be fit so I can get to the dogs. So that's what I've done is basically improve my health by eating better, and just getting physically fit. And I can do a lot more than 4 pull-ups now. So,
and even some sit-ups and push-ups.
Exactly. And I have a lot of pride in that because, and I said it on Chris's show, the guys out west are tough. I mean, you go walking with Ty Hare, and he's going to walk up a mountain now. And the fellas that hunt with him, they get up there quick. And it's fun to be able to go with them and not be intimidated by the country. And it took me probably the first year and a half. I was scared to death I was going to get lost. They laugh at me. I'd put a collar on the truck and leave a collar on so I knew where the hell the truck was.
Oh, yeah.
But, being from Indiana and Illinois, flatland, you get up in the pines and you don't have anything to look at that can show you where you're at. It was intimidating. And now it's just like second nature. I don't even worry about it. You just go hunting, but it took some time to get that in my mind too and learn the country. And that's one good thing with going with my buddy that's, like I said, he's had some health issues and needs some help. It's been great for me because I retired from a company that did a lot of commercial construction every year. And, I was in there early in the morning till sometimes late in the evening, and that time I had a pretty big void in my life. I didn't even know what to do with myself. So when we started getting involved with going with him and learning the hounds, which, I didn't know much about lion hounds and stuff like that. I'd been hunting with him 3 different years for lions and bobcats over the years, but to actually get out there and learn to handle the dogs and do it right and learn how to train them, it's kind of a goal of mine just to get good at it. I wanted to get good at it. I wanted him to be proud of me. I wanted to learn the country. I wanted to learn how they travel, the lions, the bears, things like that. So that's been really good for me to have the dogs.
What do you think the biggest difference is from hunting coons back east to lions and bears here, or running beagles or deer?
I think the country and the scent, coons like a bear. I mean, they smell like a bear compared to a lion, and the lion just doesn't leave much scent. Bobcats same way. Bobcats just tough to catch. You got dogs catch bobcats, you got you something there. I would say, the dirt dogs, that's what I really like, is going down New Mexico and running them on the dirt, because if you've got a dog that'll catch them on the dirt down there, that's fun. And you've got a dog that really has a good nose and good breeding to be able to do that, good drive. I think if you took any of you guys' dogs or my dogs back east and ran raccoons, they'd have so many of them treed so quick, it'd be crazy. They probably wouldn't even know what to do. They'd have so many.
I mean, even here, I had a nursery that I used to hunt, and it was a lot of palm trees. And you would think it'd be easy to see a coon in a palm tree, but it's not, man. They lay up there flat in there. It's crazy. But I mean, we could catch coons all day long in there. For
Right.
one, no one hunted them, and for two, they like my dogs just love chasing them. Of course, I broke them off javelina a lot in there, which there used to be a lot of javelina. I'm talking 30, 40 inside this 300-acre nursery, So it was a good training experience for that. And then I would take my pups there and hunt coon with them just to get them on the game, get them
Right.
wanting to chase something. So
Is that how you start a lot of them with the raccoons?
I used to. It's a whole different world. So I had dogs in the 90s, got a divorce, moved, lived in my truck because I was tough, took my saddle and iron skillet and ended up, with my kids. And so I just got a trailer and put it behind my parents' house for a while, got rid of the dogs. And then in 2005, I got a hold of a couple dogs from some lines and just started again. And that's what I did. I had a creek down by me. And I just ran coons, and then started running lions. And then I don't know why I did it. I said, well, I want to run bear too. And got in the bear. And, I think when you get older, you start slowing down. And like, I'm excited to be back down in South Arizona. There's all the units in Arizona closed up for the most. I mean, a lot of them for the year. So I was kind of excited, like, oh, I have an excuse to come down early. Because I don't usually bring my dogs down to like December, when it's just snowy up there. And I don't do much snow hunting, even though I should to train dogs. I just come down here and hunt in crappy area like Brett Vaughn does. And sometimes I catch them, sometimes I don't. I just get lucky. Right, Derek? Just get lucky.
Get lucky.
And I honestly, I hadn't even been down to the creek. My son goes down there. My daughter will take her dog down there. But when you have older dogs, it kind of ruins you for training. I don't think I've had to really train a dog to hunt in a long time, because when they're 3, 4, 5 months and you're bear hunting and you're catching 20, 30 bear a year, like,
right.
They just pick up on it. The good ones will pick up on it, and I just kind of been spoiled. But my lead dog, the only one that rigs right now, and I lost a dog. I've lost a couple dogs, Sydney and Yucky, and they were like my second and third up and coming, and I lost both of them dogs. My dog's 11 years old now, and he'll rig and he'll go, but he's just getting, I don't have no one under him. And, I've always said once your old dog dies, the younger dogs will step up, because they're not relying on him. So, but it's going to be, I'll be free casting. If he dies, I'll be free casting a lot. But that's what I do anyways. So.
Yeah, I've only got one dog that rigs too, half-ass. Trixie will a little bit, but half-ass is, he's same thing as you're talking about with your dog. If he opens up, you better, and he runs a lot he doesn't open on lions or bears on the track most of the time until he gets close. And he's pretty tough to train pups with because he just doesn't talk. So they don't know where to go to him. So that makes it a little bit tough, but he's also one, he'll end up having a lion treed by himself in a cave somewhere, in the dirt. But he's a pretty special dog. And it's kind of neat to have the different personalities of dogs. And I've got 3 finished dogs right now. And the one got his back leg hurt down in Cloudcroft the first day we bear hunted. And so he's been healing up, and we've been running a couple miles a day up the mountain now, and he's looking real good. So I think he's going to be okay. And then Trixie had the puppies. So I had 2 of my 3 finished dogs pretty much out of commission. So I just concentrated on my blue puppy, and he's a couple of years old. And then Shadow that I got off of Larry Webb. He's kind of a white blue tick dog, and he likes to run around with my best dog half-ass there quite a bit. So I think he's gonna get trained up pretty quick if he sticks around with those big dogs, which, like you said, that's pretty cool to have those older hounds that can teach him.
So nice.
I've been pretty impressed with that young dog so far. He's trailing already and treeing and stuff, and just got a really good little nose. And he's out of the pups I've dealt with over the last few years. He's just super chill. He just comes out of his kennel, lets you put his collar on him, and just seems really interested in going hunting. You know, he's getting up on the tailgate and wanting to go and stuff like that. And like you said earlier, if they start quick, you know, the ones that don't start quick, you're just fighting them the whole way. But he's going to be one of those dogs I think is going to turn out to be a good special dog, you know. And he's going to
Those are the ones I worry about, because those are the ones that get sick or break their leg. You're like, oh man,
I know.
You know, it's the one. I actually got a tattoo of a dog on me, and I hated that dog. But I mean, I hated him. There's so many times I put and I didn't, because he had heart and he would catch. You know, he was trashy, but I ran him with Dirty, my lead dog, and they pushed each other real good. But by himself, every time he would rig by himself, and I'd watch Dirty. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give you benefit of doubt. He'd treat a porcupine. Like the porcupine is already in a tree, and he had a great nose. He just wanted to chase everything. But
right.
If I dropped him with Dirty and Dirty rigged, you weren't pulling him off that bear or the lion.
Gotcha.
Like, you weren't pulling him off anything as long as he's with that dog. And I hated that dog. Love-hate relationship. You know, everybody's like, why'd you get a tattoo? And I said, just to remind me that I hated that dog. I mean, and I didn't breed him. And one day I said, man, he's getting old. I'm going to just breed him and see what happens. And I bred him, and he didn't take. And I said, there's my sign. The jib didn't take. And I said, there's my sign. I had one heartache, you know, and I have another dog I wasn't going to keep. I didn't like this dog, and my wife said, hey, you sure you don't want to keep that dog? And it was so bad, I didn't take him off chain. I was just like, someone needs to take him or something, or I don't know, Jesus needs a dog, something. I don't know. One day I said, oh, I'll take him. And I took him out, and I let him out of the truck, and I was roading some dogs down here, and he couldn't even run. He just ran stupid. I'm like, Jesus, look, he's running stupid. And she just give him a chance. And it was like Forrest Gump, you know, when he loses his braces and he starts running. And I'm going to tell you what, I'd never tell her this, and I hope she don't ever listen to this, but she was right about that dog. And it was just something I didn't like about him, or I just didn't like him for some reason. But, man, he's turning out to be a good dog. So,
that's good.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to give him a chance, even the slow ones, right? Because I think even Warner Glenn has said way back in the day when he was on DVDs that, you know, sometimes he's had dogs 3 years old or whatever, older, that just took off, you know. And I've had dogs that hit 2 years old, and I'm like, man, someone needs to put this dog on a couch with them. And then the next day, or you think about getting rid of them, and the next day they're like, crap, I heard him thinking about getting rid of me, and they just go. You're like, son of a gun.
That's what I've seen I've got a blue puppy I guess he's 2.5 years old. I call him Blue, but he's out of half-ass and a running walker female that I had. And my buddy's got the litter mate, a female, and she started a lot quicker than he did. And I want him to be good so bad because he's out of half-ass. And it's like, there's times I'd see him do stuff and you'd be like, I just don't know if he's going to make anything or not. But this last several months, he made every bear tree down in Cloudcroft.
Oh.
And he started turning on. And before we went down to Cloudcroft, I could see him out here, like if a squirrel ran across the road. You could just see it in his eyes. He just started getting gamey. Mm-hmm. And then we went down there and ran bears. And now he has just flat turned on. He's treeing really strong. And he was treeing when he started, but he just kind of got in a mode to where I wasn't sure he was going to make it. And I'm glad, because I've been so worried about my red dog Clyde that hurt his leg. And I think he ended up breaking it. It's what we think happened. But he's a dog that you can run him all day on the dirt, and he'll run a lion all day long and train puppies, and he opens and just got a great mouth. fantastic on the snow. I run him and Trixie a lot on bobcats in the snow, and they just really do well together. Even with lions, they caught a nice tom lion last year for a hunter, and I kind of do that. I run Trixie and Clyde together, and then throw the blue pup in. And a lot of times I'll turn half-ass loose on a bobcat and just let him run it by himself, and then we're still cutting for lions and stuff like that. But I've been so worried about that red dog Clyde that with his leg and stuff, and now I'm starting to see him healing up and think he's going to be good. But it's nice to see a younger dog starting to step up, and I think we get him on 2 or 3 lions this year on the snow, and I think he's just going to lock right in. And I got a feeling that little 6-month-old dog I've got is going to be the same way. He's going to be way ahead of him as far as really being gamey early. But he's going to have a little better opportunity because he's already running with the big dogs and stuff right now.
Hell, I think Amber Marshall or somebody has a dog with 3 legs and it goes. So if they have the drive, they're going to go.
Well, and this dog Clyde that I've got, you're talking about that dog not running. When I rode him, I always laugh because he's so nonchalant. He's always at the back, and it's almost like he's kind of goofy, but he is such a loving dog. And when he hunts, I mean, it's like a whole different dog when he gets a scent. And I was watching my controller, not this year, but last year when we were bear hunting down there, because he's just slow. He just piddles around, got to stop and pee and do everything, smell everything. And it's like he's trying to be lazy, And I looked at my controller, and he was way out ahead of the rest of the dogs when we ran that first bear. And he was that way the whole 9 days we were down there, just absolutely turned on. But he still does that roding now. I'm like, is it his leg that's bothering him, or is he's just kind of nonchalant, But
he has an excuse.
Exactly. He's just being lazy. It's just Clyde. That's just the way he is. But he's such a cool dog. It really bothered me because I was worried his leg wasn't going to heal, But it looks like he's going to be okay.
How long you been in Colorado?
4 years. Yeah. 2021.
So you get there, and a few years later, all of a sudden they say, we don't want you to hunt lions no more.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What do you think about that whole situation?
Well, it really bothered me, and I get aggravated about all that stuff. I read that crap on Facebook, and they've got that mountain lion sightings page that you see on Facebook sometimes, and
that blew up real bad too.
Freaking comments, and it just aggravates the piss out of you because, I mean, as a boy, I managed predators. I caught fox, I caught coyotes, I caught raccoons. And I had 160 acres in Illinois with some of the best whitetails probably in the nation. And I managed coyotes. I took 50 to 55 coyotes off that property every year. And, every year they'd move in from other areas, but it kept them off of the fawns and let you have a good fawn crop. It's no different with the lions. They act like endangered. Yeah, they're an endangered species, but go driving these roads when it snows and see how many lions there really are. My thoughts were if they
finding out how many lions.
Exactly. And the thing about it is, even if you're not if they're gonna have a quota like we've got here in Colorado, in our unit, there's 23 lions the last couple of years. And if we get a snow in a week and a half, 2 weeks, that's closed. The good thing is I'm 30 miles from New Mexico, and it doesn't usually close the whole year in certain units because they don't get snow, and most guys' dogs aren't going to catch them consistently on the dirt. And I mean, how hard it is to catch them on the dirt. You're not going to catch them every day. If you can catch them every 5 to 10 days of running, you're probably doing pretty good.
Who was I talking to you, Benny, about? When I talking to you, Benny, when I said in the snow you can track them, literally without a dog, you could track them if you got a good track. I said if they was in the desert and they left red footprints as they was walking, everybody'd be hunting the desert.
Oh, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, that's exactly right. And on the snow, you've hunted on the snow. The dogs watch the tracks. You know, they'll check a track every 20 yards or 30 yards, but they're looking at that track in the snow. And then you get on the dirt and you've got sandstone and the wind kicking up and the sun coming up and getting hot by mid morning. And it does it every day. If you don't have them caught early, you're going to fight it and be walking with them and just keep trying to get where the sun's not hitting and they can catch a track and get some smell. But no, it aggravated me when they did that, and I was super excited when they didn't get it voted out. And you know, I've talked to a few people, but personally, I think we need to get put on the ballot that you can run bears again in Colorado, and
Yes, sir.
go the other direction. You know, if this was business, you'd go on the offensive for something. Don't let them just keep trying to take something away, but get something back. And you know, if they can get 250,000 signatures to get it put on a ballot, why can't we? You know,
Right.
He came right in.
Who said retard? Who said it?
I knew he came in right at when we're talking about.
Uh-oh, he quit. I was just wondering, well, where's Cody tonight? I was going to text you. Hey, where are you at tonight?
Man, I was thinking about going to bed. And then I said, Chris sent me that link, and I said, well, maybe I can stir a little stuff up before I go to bed. So,
and we're talking about anti-hunters in Colorado.
oh, that'll do it.
Yeah. No, and we were talking. He was saying we should go on the offense, and we talked about this last week, I believe, too. That I mean, it's hard to go on the offense. It really is to get all of us rallied up to go on the offense, you know, and it's going to take everybody to go on the offense. You know,
Right.
The Mountain Lion Foundation, I think they fired everybody. Like they
Wow.
got rid of a lot of people and they restructured. So, I mean, what is that about? A guy had sent me a thing. I read about it. So, and they hired some big wigs, I guess, to come in, and so I'm sure we're going to be hearing from them sooner or
Yeah,
later.
they didn't like getting beat up on, so they got rid of everybody that got beat up, and now they're going to start a new clutch. So,
Well,
but you know, Cody's on here, and the last time when Colorado was under fire, Cody played a big role in that deal
mhm.
That's
in our
awesome.
little circle. And so,
That's
Yes,
great.
it did.
you know, Cody understands going on the offense.
Yes.
Yeah, I wish I wish that there could be some form of organization that would be capable of raising the money necessary to hire the people necessary to go to these ballot initiative states and start putting pro hunting laws and getting the signatures and getting them on the ballots. And even if you don't win, but it make them have to go defend.
Creating our own ballot initiative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I don't know.
Yep.
I mean, it's easy for a bunch of guys sitting around the table to go, oh yeah, man, anybody can, and you can, anybody can get 150,000 signatures if for anything, if you got the money and the time and the willingness to do it, which none of us do. We all have jobs, but that would
Well,
be
that's the thing. We're trying to feed our family,
yeah.
and a lot
Where
of
are
these
you
people
from, Troy?
aren't.
I'm from Durango,
They're-
Colorado.
Durango.
Oh yeah.
I've
Just
been
for
there
4
a time.
years.
There's an airport in Durango, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's a nice little airport, La Plata County.
Yeah.
And I like this area. I don't like some of the
Yep.
liberal ways,
And then-
but that's part of it.
Is that growing still, or is that kind of petered off a little?
I think they're still growing a little bit.
Your
don't-
governor's the problem.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that Boulder and all that through there around Denver area. But it's amazing. You see
Well,
comments even
Your
in the
governor's
paper locally.
husband is the problem.
Yeah. Right.
And that it's the same problem that all
You know,
states have, and Texas has it too, and it's coming. I guarantee you. But Colorado, man, Denver controls the state.
Right.
I don't know what the population dynamics are exactly, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And that's hard to overcome.
it is, and when you got places like California where those big cities, or even Phoenix now, Phoenix and Tucson control it, and Arizona had a petition come through to where they had to get so many signatures. They couldn't get them all in one. Like, you just couldn't get them in Maricopa County or Gila County or Pima. They had to get them. They had to get a certain percentage all the way around, and it didn't pass.
Yeah.
And that really hurt us.
Well, the other side spun it like that it makes it harder for you to get your rights. You can't protect your rights because now they're going to require more hoops to jump through to get a thing on the ballot. And we lost the vote on that because there was nobody on our side campaigning. Heck, I didn't hear about it until 2 days before we voted.
Yeah.
If we could have got ahead of it and got some explanation, some education out there to everybody explaining that this protects your rights. So the small group, whatever side they're on, a small group can't get a ballot initiative that affects you if you don't agree with it. You're going to have people from everywhere agree to get something to vote on. And that, we didn't have that, and that's what killed us.
Well, yeah, and I mean, we got it out as much as we could, but and Dan Gates was right when he kind of called us stupid, or everybody thought he called us stupid, because we don't know about that stuff because we're busy with our lives doing something, whereas the other side is busy trying to figure out how to do something to us. So, I mean, I don't sit around all day and look up something that's coming. I get a text from somebody that says, "Hey, have you heard about this? Hey, have you heard about this?" Just like the Mountain Lion Foundation, someone sent me a text and said, "Hey, read this." And our network should be a lot better. But what are we doing in the fall? We're hunting as much as we can.
Right.
And I mean, that's the simple fact of it. And then you got, I talked to a guy today from Nevada, and you remember they wanted all the hound permits and stuff. And I think that's just kind of petered out. They're kind of like they should have let them put it to petition, said no, and then they had to do it again in 5 years. But I think they're just going to keep coming back and trying to do it, to do the hound, kind of like Idaho, I believe, where they wanted 70 tags, and and the guy just said, well, if they bring it back, I'll keep fighting it. What do you think about that kind of stuff, hound permitting in the state?
Seems pretty crazy to me.
It's kind of like segregation.
Right.
Well, but there's all different angles to be attacked. And those people have nothing. That is their job. They get everybody's housewife money, and they run these retarded commercials. There you go, Cody. And they run these commercials. They show dogs in a vet kennel and say, people are abusing their animals, and they get all the bleeding hearts to chip in $10 and $20 and $5, and pretty soon they've got $100 million, and they can go out and they can look at every angle, and they can come on the attack from an angle that we never see coming. They passed a deal over here in Chaves County where I live, I don't know, 25, 30 years ago, where you weren't allowed to have more dogs than a certain number without being a licensed kennel.
Like 3, you're only allowed 3 on the property, and
something, I don't know. And somebody said, so how many dogs do you have? And I said, none of your damn business. And they said, well, what are you going to do about that? I said, well, you don't want to be the one that turns me in.
Yeah. I think networking
that's
is
just how they go. That's just how they go. They come from every angle, and we think that they're going to come after the actual hunting. They can come after the dogs themselves.
Yeah, they regulate it to death. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's, in all of my thinkings about it, I've kind of, we kind of got to be careful with some of that sometimes because, I mean, you could say that it should be illegal for them to restrict hound hunting, and they say, okay, we're going to allow mountain lion hunting with dogs from January 1st to January 2nd every year, and it's still hunting, it's still legal, and so we don't need just legalization, we need protection, and that's complicated. And every person is going to have different perspectives on that based off of where you live and where you hunt. I mean, I live in Texas. There ain't no seasons. There ain't no bag limits. There ain't no tags. There ain't no quotas. There ain't no units. So I'm ignorant to all of that, and y'all guys start talking about that stuff, and I don't know. Texas is just different. It won't always be, but
Well,
it is
but
now.
Cody, they're making headway, and they see it as a gain, where they just outlawed canned lion hunts in Texas,
Oh
and
yeah,
so it's just chipping away one, and so everybody says so that doesn't matter. We don't care about canned lion hunts, and so they just got their foot in the door.
no,
So
that's exactly right. And like I told
how
those people, I said, y'all made it illegal to do canned hunts, and every single person who was doing canned hunts thought it was already illegal anyway.
yeah.
Anybody that was doing it thought it was illegal anyway. So
There you go. That's right.
yeah.
Yep. I was gonna
Well,
say
I think
how many people were doing canned hunts over there? Do you think though? Was there quite a few?
No, not. I mean, no, not commercially, but there
25 years
probably
ago, yes.
is a few guys that were keeping lions in pens and using them, turning them loose with to train dogs. More so than commercially hunting them. Um,
Training.
I mean, it may happen some still, but literally, you're talking about. I mean, that's a law that was given to them because no one's really doing it anyways. You're talking about two or three people, and they didn't just pass the can hunting. They passed a trap check law for mountain lions. So you have to check your traps every so often if it's a mountain lion trap. And they didn't even give them that. They didn't make it where they didn't make it a legal requirement to check your trap every 36 hours. They made it illegal for a mountain lion to sit in a trap more than 36 hours. And so it's a non-enforceable law, and Texas in general is private. It's all private land. And like I told that committee, when I talked to them, I said, guys, you're wanting to make laws that aren't enforceable in Texas. I said, the only thing that you're going to change is you're just not going to see it on Facebook.
Well, you know
It's
what
still going to
that's
be happening, but you're not going to see it.
you know what that's for though. That's for raising more money.
Oh
That's for
yeah.
saying, look, guys, woo, rally together. We did it. We got rid of canned hunts, which no one gave a shit about because they thought it was already illegal, and there's only 2, 3 guys thought they were outlaws doing it. And then like you said, the trap law. It's just
Yeah.
like the camera law in Arizona, or the when a bear unit closes, and to catch somebody running a bear when it's closed, when it's a lion season opening, you can run coyotes and fox and rabbits and everything else in raccoon. Like, it's a tough, like, to get the lion. If it's 36 hours, is the warden going
Yeah.
to sit there 36 hours? He'd have to put a camera on, and
game warden ain't going to find a lion trap anyways. You know, they're all set way up in canyons and stuff. I mean, it's just, but you know, you compromise and you give them something, and then in 5 years later, you compromise and you give them something,
That's
and over a
what Arizona
50-year
did.
period, hell, they've accomplished a lot. You know,
Yeah.
and it's
Arizona did it. We said, okay, you can't hunt in the summer when all the babies are born because mountain lions only have babies in June and July. You know,
mountain lions have babies year round.
all the time. So, yeah, Arizona, he's right. I grew up. Arizona's always been, even back in the 90s when I was trapping, I think it was 24 hours. So when you guys talk about checking traps every 72 or 30, I'm like, wow, man, or 48. I'm like, that's crazy because I had to go every day when I was 15 years old. I had like
Me
a
too.
12-mile trap line. You know, I get home from school, go out and check my trap line, get home by 8 and skin out tons of coyotes or bobcat, you know.
Everything in the
So,
equal 24-hour check.
And
Yeah.
here was my problem with it, and this was my beef with them. And I told them, you know, they don't listen to me, but they call and ask like they want to. A coyote snare, and I don't remember the exact law, but the trap check law. If you have a snare, and the way they defined it is a snare with a diameter of 10 inches or bigger. And you had a mountain lion in your snare, you had to check it every 36 hours. Now, there's no requirement to check it if it's a 6-inch diameter snare for coyotes, you know. And my beef with them was, if you're speaking from an ethical point, what difference does it make? Why is it okay for a coyote to sit in there for 38 hours, but it's not okay from a truly ethical standpoint, which was what they are supposed to represent? What does it matter? And what it matters is all of these deer hunters and these private ranches, they're not going to check their snares. And so that law is not going to be passed in Texas, I promise you. So they cut it out for mountain lions, you know, and now if you have a snare that's over 10 inches in diameter and you happen to catch a lion in it, you have to check it every 36 hours. So the everybody set their snare at 9.5 inches, and then you're exempt from the law. It's just stupid. It's just stupid.
9 inches, 3/4.
Yeah.
Well, there's
I mean,
always,
how does the game warden know
always-
what size loop I put in that snare? You know,
yeah, and there's always a loophole. There's always a loophole in,
Yeah.
in most of these laws. The camera
it's
laws.
unenforceable laws.
Mhm.
You know,
Like, in order for them to prove that you shot, like they have to prove you shot that elk on that camera, and you had that camera set up for that elk. It's just like if they get rid of line hunting, everybody says I'm gonna be a coyote hunter. Most of them won't, but I mean, how are you gonna? Even in bear season, like I said, in bear season, if you run a bear when it's closed, you say I'm chasing lion. If they get to the tree, you just say bad dog, let's go, and you pull them off.
yeah.
Right.
You know.
I know guys in California that say they hunt fox, and they're really running. And I know that have got in trouble because they walked up a tree, but going, hey, oh, good dog, you know, and so get in trouble.
Damn it.
So they'll all tell you now. They walk up behind you, you're all going, oh, bad dog, you know, and just to try to stay out of trouble, you know, and so, and if you don't have, you know, if you run multiple game species with your dogs, the dogs don't know you can run a fox, but you can't run a lion. You know, so it's just goofy. It's absolutely goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
All
but
them-
it's still a win. it's still a win for those guys, and that's what they use to rally the forces.
They just
You
get
know?
money out of uneducated people because, you know, a 10-inch snare. Now, I promise you, an 8-inch snare catch everything from a red fox to a black bear and
Exactly.
everything in the middle. It don't.
Exactly. Ain't nobody setting a 10-inch diameter snare, anyways. You know, it,
Like this big.
But that, if you
yeah.
think about it, those guys probably know that, so they get the 10-inch in there because now it's in the law. Now it's there. They got their foot in the door, and then
And
they'll.
that's my problem with the state is
Yeah.
instead of doing this stupid shit, tell them to piss off. You know,
Yes.
why do you have to compromise? Just the most experienced lion trapper in the world is not using 10-inch snares. So you've made a law that affects 0 people.
Yep.
Why are you doing? I mean, they need to quit
Anger.
accommodating these people.
Yeah.
You know, they need the backbone to say, y'all don't know shit about wildlife. You need to piss off.
Yep.
And the problem
And
with
be damn what they say about you. Be damn what
Yeah.
they crap about. Be damn what they yell and holler and call you names. To hell with it. They don't know what they're talking about. They need to go talk to themselves.
they don't know what they're talking about, but they know what they're doing. So just like with Arizona, because the Game and Fish supported HB 2552, which said basically it's illegal to make hunting dogs illegal. They're catching just so much crap, and they've got so much audits on them right now that it's hard for me to come in and say, "Hey, here's a petition pro hound or pro bear or pro this," and if it's legal, what do you do? Like in Arizona, we know they're going to come after lion hunting yet again, but as offense, what do I do to
Get
make
a
it,
we
hunting
get
dogs are legal to hunt lions with?
so we need to get a petition in for a bear pursuit season and a spring season. We get those petitions in, they got to defend that. Whether we win it or not, they're spending their effort trying to stop us from winning it. And we just keep doing that over
Pursuit,
and
yes.
over again.
So pursuit, yes. Spring bear will get kickback from hunters.
I don't care. They even
Well, you
whether
have
they,
to care. You have to care. You have to.
I
No,
don't
you
care.
do. You have to get those guys on your. You can't just say go fuck them.
No, we just get the petition in, whether it passes or not. We just keep putting in petitions. So they're defending
Why?
our
I'm just curious. Why would you get kickback from hunters for a spring bear season?
because they're
Because
uneducated and they think the hounds are
yeah,
killing all the bears and it's not fair to the spotting stalkers and boo hoo. And even though they go out and shoot it across the canyon and walk up on an 80-pound rat, they just ignore
yeah,
the sign. We just
and
have to
leave it in the hole.
come with the data and come with the
Oh, so
photo evidence.
you would get blowback from people trying to hunt bears.
Yes. So the spring
Right.
hunt, but so here's the catch 22. Should we be hunting only hounds in spring? Probably, because if you tree a female, you're going to know she has cubs, right? Lactating, all that good stuff. But if we can only hunt bears in the spring, then now we have our own season. So they might take the fall season away from us, and then we only got a 2-week season. You know what I mean?
We should just get it petitioned to get the bears us added to the whole bear season and get a pursuit tag. That's what we should do. And I know they'll come back with all the packs of dogs will stretch cubs.
Oh, guaranteed. They already do that now.
I mean, we
I
could
mean, to
just
catch you up, Troy. So what was it 23? So in 23, some anonymous hunter, of course, went to a newspaper and said, "Why am I spending 23 or 24? It's 24, wasn't it?
it's 24.
Either way, said the dogs are killing everything, and why buy a $25 tag when I don't have a chance to go hunt a bear because the dog guys are just whacking everything?" Well, the reporter actually did a good job. Went to Game and Fish. Game and Fish put out the statistics and said oh, hey, look, only 21% of these bears were killed with the use of dogs, and it just shut them down. So the other 80%, 79% were your spot and stalkers.
Gotcha.
You know, so whether so I'm sympathetic because I used to be that guy without hounds back when I was a teenager hunting Unit 27, and I had a bear tag. And if I seen a bear across that canyon and I had a way to shoot at it, I was shooting at it because I've never shot a bear. So when you're sitting in a stand, and I've had a lot of people come to my tree and say, that's a good bear. I'd shoot it. And I said, and I would like, listen, you see those ears? I said, you shoot that bear, it's going to be as big as a German Shepherd when it hits the ground. I said, they look big up there when they fall, they shrink real fast.
Right.
And they hit that ground and they suck all in, and all of a sudden that 300-pound bear in that tree is 80 pounds, 100 pounds.
Right. Right.
So when you're sitting in a stand, I get it. And you don't have dogs ain't cheap. Cost me a couple $100 a week. You know what I mean? They're not cheap at all. And then you're sitting in a stand deer hunting and the bear walks by 10 yards. Here's a good example. I treat a bear at a mountain, killed it. That guy who killed it checked it in at Game and Fish. Another guy was there Monday checking it in. And he said Lake Mountain. And he said, oh, I killed my bear 400 yards from you guys. When you guys killed that bear, I heard you guys in the tree. It was our tree. He goes, a bear ran or just walked out from where you guys were right by me, like 20 yards, and I shot it with his bow.
Wow.
So
Not the subject, but I just sent you a video, Chris. If you could try to share it, I think some people would find it kind of cool.
Oh, okay. Let me download it. Yeah.
And
Let me load it. So you guys could tell a bunch of lies.
Benny, how's the food truck business, Benny?
Thursday, when I got to town and opened up the door, I said some bad words. All my grill had pulled loose from the wall, and that plate's only 3/4 inch thick steel plate on that commercial grill, and then that swinging around moved the stovetop off of the wall, and it was pulled the propane line as far as it could pull and puked everything in the floor. And so we just got it all put back together today, Cody.
I'm listening to you talk about your food. I'm telling you pretty quick, I'm gonna fly to wherever you're gonna be just so I can walk up and eat some of that fried bread and
I'll tell you what, you come.
shit.
We've got room for you, and it's not even. I gave away my kennels, but I'll put you in the house.
Cody,
Hey,
Cody, you fly here, I'll make you some tacos.
Yeah, you can keep your tacos, buddy. No disrespect.
But hey, so Troy, I went fishing with Cody. I was all pissy about my food truck business, and I was waiting on a refrigerator to come in, and my wife said, you're pretty grouchy, and Cody keeps sending you pictures to entice you to go to South Texas. When will your refrigerator come in? And I said, I think I've got 6 days. And she said, go see Cody. So I go all the way over there. I drive for 11 and a half hours, and he makes me sleep in the dog kennel. How's that, Cody?
Yeah, you should see his dog kennel.
I figured.
Hey, Troy has a nice dog kennel.
I do have a nice dog kennel. People probably like to stay there.
No, Troy has nice dog kennels. You should see Cody's.
Really?
Cody's dog kennel in between the dogs and the. I guess it could be like a studio apartment, huh, Cody?
Yeah, living quarters, whatever you want to.
How many square feet is that part?
Oh, shit,
1,200?
I don't know. 40 foot wide and 25, 30 foot. Yeah. 1,200
square feet. 1,200 square feet studio apartment with all the amenities, but between that is a
It's a
vet.
house.
It's yeah,
Right.
and it's a vet.
Yeah.
He's got a vet shop between the two of those with
Oh,
a
cool.
whelping crate, and so and I'm just poking at Cody, but I was treated really grand, and if you ever get a chance to go stay at Cody's kennel, I would suggest you stay at Cody's kennel.
Sounds
We had
nice.
to we had to we had to build some enclosed kennels because of the Chagas bugs and Chagas disease. So it was one of them deals. I figured if I was going to do it, I might as well do it right, kind of
Oh,
deal.
absolutely.
So I had my own mother-in-law quarters, and she wasn't there. I got to live by myself.
Yeah.
But anyway, Cody, you just come on. You hop
Let
on
me
a
let me
plane.
see if
There's
I
a
could.
airport right here in Artesia, New Mexico, close to my wagon, and I'll
That's
put
why
you.
everyone's gonna think this when they see it. Why that is not a Jaguar. And
Here we go.
but Chris is trying to. This
It's
video
not a
was taken
Jaguar.
the other day in an
Can you see it?
area in. Yes,
Wow.
I
that
know
is
what
it.
that is.
That is
Ocelot, yeah.
as big a ocelot as you'll probably ever see. Yeah, right there. That's a good one.
And
It,
I'm gonna play it again just because it's cool.
That is
Is that
cool.
in Texas?
No, that's in Mexico, but it's it's kind of been raising an uproar because it's not in an area where there's supposed to be ocelots. And but it's probably 15, 20 miles tops from Texas, And but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Them things act like a
It's
bobcat when you run them.
No, they run kind of more straight away, and they just stink so bad.
well,
They,
and they
I
live.
mean, the dogs don't make a single lose once they get them jumped. They just
Yeah,
run. Yeah.
and tell them where they live, Cody. Like their kind of terrain, their environment.
Well, I mean, it just depends on where they're at, I guess. But I mean, they like, they like really thick brush,
They're
and
like in dirty, cliffy, brushy stuff, huh?
yeah, where I've encountered them is like where the flatland brush meets the mountain, like right on that deal, but thick brush, and just super thick. But we're trying to collar lions, and that's about the eastern range of where we're trying to collar lions for that Mexico program, and they they took a picture of that guy the other day, and that was pretty cool. Pretty cool surprise.
That is cool.
So when you say it's not in his area, I mean, like how far, like from where they normally are, was that? And that was a male, so he was traveling, maybe got pushed out of his area or something. But how far was he from where they normally are?
So if he was 10 miles further north and he was in Texas, on the Texas
Oh,
side of the Rio Grande, he would be about 150 miles from another known ocelot. On the Mexico side, he probably 75 miles anyways, maybe 50 to 75 miles. And, but these biologists will get to talking and saying, "Oh, there's no ocelots except right here," and they don't know, And it was kind of comical because I talked to some of the Texas people that worked with these, and I said, "Hey, man, I got and I love to tell them, I was like, man, a friend of mine's got a sighting of an ocelot, and I told him where, and he, they just no." I said, "No, man, he saw it." And they said, "Yeah, he's full of shit."
house cat.
And I went, "No, he saw it. on his camera, you know. So I kind of enticed him a little bit to say that he was full of shit, and then I sent it to him, and then they're like, "Oh, where was it? Where was it?" So
Oh, now you want to know.
yeah,
Now you want to know.
exactly.
You know, that's the thing is these animals are animals and they just travel. And every one you see like that is usually typically a male, right? So, like the Jaguars in Arizona, typically a male. Like, what makes them, like Forrest Gump, just decide to run one day? You know, what makes them just, they get tired of the area, they get beat up by a male, or the ladies don't like them, and they just start traveling.
It's the same with all of us, though, Chris. My wife
Mhm.
stays home, and I hit the road.
Yeah.
I think
You know,
they've reached the natural edge of their range, of their natural territory, and they start traveling looking for more territory like what they just left. And for a number of reasons, I think they just don't find it. You know, they keep going and going and going, and they just, and that's what kind of leads to them traveling so far, you know.
and is there something wrong in their brain where they're just not there and they're just walking? Because if it was something in their environment and their DNA, we'd have more of them over here. Jaguars,
Correct.
ocelots,
If
all
I
those.
if I took you to where I have encountered jaguars, you would look around, and in 10 seconds you would go, "Oh, well, this is why this is where jaguars live. Oh, that's why we don't have them in Arizona, and we're never gonna have them." You know,
Fine,
it's
Cody, I'll go. Fine,
it's
I'll go.
it's just it's not their country, you know. And
Mhm.
there are jaguars in areas that I'm just saying where I've encountered them, but it's the same thing with the ocelots. You know, you go to Mexico and encounter where there's lots of ocelots, and you look at it, yeah, this is why there's lots of ocelots here. Never be lots of ocelots ever again, because this ain't there no more. You know, they're just no brush like that in Texas anymore. They're just reintroduced a bunch of ocelots into another here in Texas. So that's exactly right, Casey.
The experts
That's
aren't so
exactly right.
well, and they exploit it like that. The Jaguar they found down. What was it? Derek, U of A? Was it U of A?
I think so. Yeah.
Set up a bunch of cameras, caught a Jaguar, and they posted it like they had 40, 50 pictures of this Jaguar everywhere. And
The
there's really
same
only
people
a
on the
couple
same
pictures.
camera. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would hypothesize that the numbers are close to carrying capacity in their good areas. So naturally, they're going to go look for more good areas,
Yeah.
and then they just don't find what they're looking for, so they go home.
Yeah.
I would hypothesize that's why it's the thing.
There is lots of jaguars in Mexico. A lot. A lot.
Do they have a number like Belize? They say, is it Belize that has like 60,000? Belize or Brazil? I think it's Belize.
Belize. It's Belize.
Like 60,000 Jaguars.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where there's jaguars, there's a lot of them. I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, I say a lot of them. I mean, it's like lions. You know, they're not under every tree, but I mean, they're not protected. I mean,
So is
that. Go ahead.
that true about the whitetail, or is Jim Nanny?
I've not ever
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
because they will absolutely breed their mothers, like
Yeah.
Never
Maybe in certain parts of the country or something they've been
Overcrowded and leave.
yeah, but in Texas everything's got a high fence around it, it seems now. They ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Have you hunted in Texas at all, Troy?
A couple times. Not Not whitetail. Well, I guess I did go whitetail hunting. Didn't shoot anything down there. Whitetail back in Indiana and Illinois, the males will move on and go 10, 12, 15 miles, whatever.
Just kind of move out of the circle.
They do, yeah, and they come back in those areas when the breeding season is sometimes, but they do tend to. They claim that they range out like that to keep from inbreeding, whether that's 100% accurate or not.
Or getting their ass kicked.
Yeah, why they do it, who
Yeah.
knows, but they do.
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
See here in Texas, I mean, of course, Texas is when whitetail hunting is ruined. I mean, there's still some, but I mean, there's lots of people that will have a picture of a whitetail buck when he was 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5, his whole life at two different feeders,
Right.
And but there's so much feeding going on that's got to impact that, and they probably don't have that up where you're talking about.
Even in eastern Indiana, like it's the same. I mean, my old man hunts the same deer, watched the same deer for till he killed him when he's 6 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think they throw bigger circles than the females. I think I read that a doe might live her whole life in a 2-mile square or something, or the buck will throw big circles. But I don't know. They don't migrate or anything like a lion does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
I know that during the rut, their range probably expands quite a bit.
Hmm.
That's all I've seen. Big circles during the rut time, but in the summer, before you can pattern them veiled deer just like clockwork. You set your watch by it. At least in in Appalachia and like eastern Indiana, southern Ohio.
Do bucks hang out together in bachelor groups everywhere across the country like they do in South Texas when it like in the summertime and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then once the rut comes in, they all start beating each other up.
Exactly, and they have some pretty good wars in the Midwest.
Do you hunt dogs, Troy?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've got lion and bear hounds. Yeah, and bobcat.
He has perfectly mannered lion and bear hounds. That's why he's here.
And they got some running dog in them too.
What's that?
I said your stuff got some running dog in it too. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Cody's word right there. That's Cody's secret word right there.
I like old Troy. Let me tell you what, he's a good hunter.
You gotta go down and hunt bobcat with Cody.
Well, that's one thing that when I started showing the dogs on TikTok and Facebook a little bit and stuff like that, and trying to show how their manners are and how they handle, instead of just showing them having something treed or something caught or something bayed, it was to try to show maybe change some perception of hounds and hunting dogs that run lions. I think a lot of people have, the idea that they're just a bloodthirsty dog that kills everything that comes in sight. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me that they didn't like hunting dogs. They didn't like hounds that ran bears or lions or bobcats. And I've had several of them that they said, you've completely changed my perception of hunting dogs. And that's one reason I started showing them was I wanted to show them that these are just dogs. They love you. And my dogs, when I went on a mountain goat hunt in Alaska and I was gone for about a week and my son took care of the dogs and, they handle good for him too. But when I came back, I did a video when I came back and I had them outside running around and stuff, and I took their collars off before I put them back in the kennels. And those dogs absolutely they just mauled me. They wanted petted so bad. And I went back, I've watched that video several times, and it was so cool because they missed me. I missed them. And I thought about them while I was gone, and I'm with them every day. I do something with them every day. And, making it easy for them to do the right things and stuff is fun. And it's fun to see them. Go ahead.
You become one of the pack, one of them, and you become one of their family and they become one of yours. And especially when And to be fair, there are hunters out there that don't have that bond with their dogs, you know,
Right. Right.
and and then kind of like what you touched on, a lot of people, the only thing they ever see about hunting dogs is a pack of
Tailgate.
dogs rolling their eyes under a tree, all jacked up and
Right.
screaming, and they do. They can look like bloodthirsty animals if the only snippet you ever see them is that couple of minutes under a tree,
Right. Right.
and
We
that
we
people don't
talked about that.
realize that otherwise they're just like your Shih Tzu or your poodle,
Mhm.
they're just dogs.
Yeah, they're just dogs. They just have a purpose, and they're bred for that
Yeah.
purpose. And that's what makes them cool, in my opinion, is, you see people's dogs sitting on a couch and they're 20, 30 pounds overweight. And that's what I like to show with
Yeah.
some of the videos I do is these dogs are fit, they're happy, they love going in their kennel. And when we go hunting, they're badass at hunting too. But most people
Let me tell you
show the
something.
go ahead.
Go ahead. A 30-pound overweight beagle that's never left the living room of someone's house is the true definition of animal cruelty
I
in
Abuse,
agree.
my book.
I
In
agree.
my book.
abuse, neglect, like,
Yeah.
and then I think we talked about that, and I've always said that you have to show be selective of what you show on face or on social media, and that right there is what needs to be more of, because most time it's drop the gate, they dive off the truck, they're at a tree,
Right.
so they don't get to see the bond and they don't get to see the training, and you didn't do that overnight.
No, no, that's been, they respond pretty quick, but it's several years I've had these dogs, and it's fun for me to be able to handle them like that. And when we're out hunting, if you've got a train wreck and they've got something bait and they're in a bad spot and you need to back them off, they listen.
They need to
Um,
listen. Yes.
they need to. I mean, and you can't have them being rude if you're taking hunters and stuff and they're diving out of the box and knocking kids over. They need to listen and be under control. And I really have been pretty amazed at the messages I get from people on TikTok and Facebook about showing the positive things of the hounds. And that's what
Uh,
I've tried to do. I mean, I've got some videos of stuff treed and stuff like that, but I just basically just show the cat in the tree or the bear in the tree, stuff like that, and got the dogs at the bottom. But I try to do it just in a manner to where if you've got someone that is an anti-hunter, maybe it's not so negative to them. And then if they see them coming back to the kennel and they're excited and their tails are wagging and they're barking in excitement because they want to get back in there and they're wanting petted, and it's like they're talking to you. And I'm talking to them like you said earlier. I'm talking to them when we go out. When I get there in the morning, I'm telling them good morning. That's how I like to handle the dogs, and that's what I like to show, because I want people that maybe don't approve of hunting dogs to see it in a positive light. So that's what I've tried to do. Everybody that's got hunting dogs, they're going to catch stuff or they're not going to have them. So if we can show some of those other
eh,
positive things that people don't see, that's kind of what I like
yeah.
to do.
Yeah. No, and I tell you, that takes time and effort
A
to do
lot of
that,
time.
and thank you for doing that, because um, I can tell you, I would like to do that, but I don't.
Yeah.
You don't think about pulling the camera out till you're looking at some fur in the tree,
Right.
and 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 of course, I don't have YouTube or any of that stuff, so nobody's and I don't have Facebook now. I need to log in on my new phone and get that taken care of. Benny made me lose my phone when he was down here fishing, but
I
there,
was there to fish. I was not there to babysit technology.
that's right. But it's tough. Brett's asked me a lot. Man, Cody, get some footage and I'll edit it and put together some videos, you know, number one, you kind of have to like to do that, and you know, Brett is very good at it. I mean, Brett is very good at making those videos for YouTube, and I don't have it in me. I wish I mean, I don't think about it when I take the dogs out. I'm hunting. I'm not making videos, you know, and I wish I wish I could,
You
you
have to
know.
have somebody with you, even me. I
Yeah.
haven't put out a video in like 9 months. I do the lives, but I just hadn't had time to put out to it. And it does take time when you are filming. And you know, Brett's another guy that shows his dogs. He don't go out and just murder animals. He goes out
Yes.
and
Yeah.
he's another guy who he gets a lot the same thing. He gets a lot of messages that say, "Man, I thought hound hunting was different." And then that's what I talk about when I say we need to change the narrative on it. You can't make something legal if it's already legal. So our offense should probably be education and saturating social media with Troy's videos and Brett's videos and anybody. Like we should have a major campaign of we don't want to see your dogs catching. We know your dogs catch. We know you go hunt. We know you kill bear and lion or coyotes or whatever, pigs. How about you send us some 10-minute videos of all that happens before or in the off season, or you know, when you're just running down the road, or that's what you need to saturate, because you can't make how do we fight lion hunting in Arizona right now? It's already legal. It's legal to run dogs.
We just got to
And
petition again, and we do need to. I need to pull my camera out more. I'm bad for that. My dogs live in the house. It's a perfect opportunity to show something other than
mhm.
game, and I don't ever record nothing. I play with every single one of them every day. Like when I get up here, I'll be rolling around the damn floor with that Karelian puppy, you know, and I never take a picture of the crap, you know.
Yep.
And I'm always preaching about the narrative, and here I am not doing it.
Well, I
You know,
think that's the problem with us, though, is we don't we don't live, and we should, but we don't live to do, like, we don't live. They live to take away from us. We're not living to keep it because we have it. You know, just like a wife, you get in that rut, and then one day she leaves because you didn't know. Oh, you were an asshole, or man, it wasn't that good, because you're so engrossed in life, and you don't know what you have till you gone, right? Like that's the big, you don't know what you have till it's gone. And if they wake up one day and they get some mass campaign and we don't have line hunting, and then all of a sudden everybody wants to get together in the last 24 hours and go try to fight it. But I've always said that a bad video can take a non-hunter and make it an anti-hunter, and Troy just barely, like, just literally proved you can take a non-hunter with a good video and get that vote.
Yeah.
And that's the narrative we need to follow. We need to rub out that emotional rhetoric, and like, and Chris Powell said it. I won't admit he's right. He probably stole the idea from me, but the trophy hunting thing, I've really just been bugging me lately, because I mean, he's right. We can't hide from it. And we, instead of trophy hunting trying to defend it, we shouldn't defend trophy and hounds, and we shouldn't have to defend it. What we need to do is make the offense and put it in people's face. This is my trophy. What's your trophy? Oh, this squirrel. You don't have no antlers. Or this cow elk. Or this coyote. You know? And we have to play strategic games like those guys do. And you take the little kid, my 7-year-old, who shot a coyote, and it's just his first coyote or first elk or bear. You know, I just don't think we need to take away the falling out of a tree. I think, honestly, I just don't think it's necessary. That video is good for your buddies, you know, the
Right.
whole Western. But as far as social media, we have to rub out that narrative that these dogs are drooling at the mouth and they're fighting at the tree and they're biting on the bears. It sucks because it's legal. And, you know, Pride Month, they don't hide their crap. So we shouldn't really have to hide ours. It's just, I mean,
And that and we've talked about this before. I have a question that I want to ask Benny real quick, but playing devil's advocate to what you just said, um, just imagine a bunny hugger sitting here and having this recording of the last 2 minutes of your conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and then going back to their people and making an ad saying, look, these groups are saying they need to lie about what they do and hide it
Mm-hmm.
from Facebook.
Oh, those
And
definitely change the narrative.
yeah, and I don't like that. But my question for you, Benny, is your entire life, your hound hunting career was in New Mexico and Arizona, pretty much those two states, or
I spent a little time in West Texas, but yeah, Arizona and New Mexico.
so in your lifetime, how much has the lion hunting changed
Oh
from the
hell.
day you started to today? How more restricted is it, or what have you lost?
To me personally, I don't see it as much fun as it used to be.
Yeah,
It's because of everything that we're talking about. The the social media input. You know, you guys talk about what what Troy and what Brett's doing and all that, the videos. Look at the following that Brett has for that dog he calls Fat Lori.
Oh
I
yeah,
think he's got I think he's got Fat Lori merchandise now.
he has Fat Lori shirts and stuff.
Yeah. But that's because they fell in love with one of his hunting dogs. And he
yeah.
downplays Fat Lori, but she's still a hunting dog. But for me personally, it's not as free, you know. And I can tell you, I can attest to all these people that you talked on. You mentioned it, Chris, earlier. Well, I'll just go illegal and I'll hunt coyotes and I'll do this and I'll do that. Yeah, horse shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you what, you guys are all full of shit. Everybody that thinks you're gonna be an outlaw, you're gonna be an outlaw with a criminal record because you don't know how to shut your mouth and you don't know how to leave your camera at home and you
Yeah.
don't know how to be an outlaw.
Yeah.
The only time that I started having trouble was when I came out from underneath my rock over some stuff on big game houndsman and a friend of mine, Larry Hendricks. And from that day forward, my personal battles with law increased. And they never had anything on me. But there's also a mentality out there in the law enforcement community that you should not be uh, successful in this area that we enjoy if you haven't paid your dues, if you don't pay your taxes, if you don't pay your membership to be an outfitter or a guide, and especially when it comes to the lions, because we're all secret agents. We're all covert operators, and there's no way that you can be successful and be within the law. And that's their attitude.
So,
And
so if
so
you're
there
doing
comes
good, you're
my
doing
problem.
something wrong.
Absolutely. And if you
If you're,
build a name for yourself with your dogs, then you're doing it 100% illegal.
I've seen that.
So
I've
that
personally seen
that
that.
didn't used to be a thing. When I started, that was not a thing. You were free to come and go and you could do things, and I've seen the change in attitude
But
from every single direction. And Casey knows what I'm talking about. Casey's been a part of that deal too. He's seen it. But Casey and I have spent some time together horseback. But at the same time, everybody's bringing it on themselves. The society is changing, but if you don't mind your own business and quit bragging, you're just causing your own demise.
So do
And
you
I've
think?
witnessed,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I
I
just said
just
I've
think.
witnessed all of that.
So do you think social media is probably one of the biggest things because people think you have to post everything, like everything?
You know, I would,
Absolutely.
I would, I would like to agree with that too, just like Benny did. But there wasn't Facebook around when California lost its lion hunting
No, yeah, you're right.
No, that's
in
true. You're
Oregon,
exactly
you
right.
know, and because it's real easy, you know, like, and I've noticed it. I kind of touched on it a little earlier. I don't have Facebook right now, and it's in my old phone. All I got to do is go pull up my account, get my login information, have them send an email, and I can have it back. But I've been honestly kind of debating if I want it back, you know, and that's why I've gone without it. It's been months you were down here fishing, Benny. I haven't been on
Yeah.
Facebook one time,
Yeah.
and and
Well,
and
let-
I miss it in some ways, but there's a lot I don't miss about it too, you know, and it's just it's complicated, you know, because not
yeah.
having it, I want to sit here and say, "Oh man, that shit ain't never done nothing but cause bad and cause harm," and at the same time, I wouldn't know a single person on this live if it wasn't for it, you know. So there's a lot of good too, and
Well,
I enjoy that, and I've made a lot of friends.
Well,
I think
Troy's a
that
good
you gotta,
example of that, right? He's
yeah.
doing good with his social media.
I think the
Let,
days of keeping our mouths shut, not telling nobody nothing, and not taking a picture and not posting anything, that is the path to destruction. If we stick our heads under our pillows and hide on the mountain and don't talk to nobody, we'll lose it all because they know it happens. They're fighting against us. If we're not putting out, if we're not flooding everything with positively portrayed imagery and controlling the narrative, then they can just go to the state house and talk about how we're murdering kittens and
well,
whatever, and then we lose it all. Like it's
yeah,
not going to
to
go
But
to
over.
an
if
extent.
they bring a video, one video of a bear getting eaten up, we should have 10 videos of Troy and Brett and whoever else has these videos that is saying, well, this one guy, let's show all the drunk drivers. Let's show the car wrecks on drunk drivers and let's get rid of alcohol then.
Yeah, we got
It's
to
no
play the
different.
Right.
game that's being played. We can't
Like
we can't ignore the tools.
like Cody said though, it's complicated. And
It's
it's hard to,
complicated.
and I can say because I lived in Southern California in 1981, 82, and during that time there was a mountain lion in the parking lot of Mission Viejo Mall that jumped out of the brush and jumped on a little kid, 5 or 6 year old kid, and that kid grabbed him by the head and was hauling him back into the brush. You know, and I'm not talking about the brush from out of town. I'm talking about what they used to doll up the parking lots back then, the hedges and all of that. And this dad had to beat the hell out of that lion to save his son's life, and that was
Wow.
in California. So it's not as easy as social media is the devil, because society in general has changed. But for me personally, I have seen the freedoms be gone.
Troy,
Well,
when
So
you
go
move
ahead.
from back east to here, what do you have a lot of that like animal activist stuff back
No,
east?
no, no, not at all. No, it's very hunt friendly. You know, it's pretty conservative in Indiana, and most of Illinois in the rural areas is the same way. Chicago kind of the same way as Denver. It kind of rules the politics of that. But no, everybody, the farmers, everybody, it's pretty much they're in favor of hunting. They deer hunt. They try to control predators and things like that. I don't think you have that negative mindset. And I think a lot of that is, you know, coming from California, people moving, you know, like Durango, it's got a lot of liberal people. And all you've got to do is read, they've got a Durango, I think it's called Bear Lovers or something like that. And I read that stuff and I never put any comments on there. I just get aggravated with some of it. And it's
Mm.
all about bear proofing your homes and doing this. Well, I can tell you this, there's so dang many bears out here at my place. That's why I built my kennels like I did, and I don't have them on chains. My buddy's got his dogs on chains in New Mexico. If I had them on chains, I mean, the snaps break, everything else, I'd be picking dogs up all over the place, running bears up here. And I mean, there were 20 bears in a 1.5 mile square here this summer. I was seeing them all through the day. I mean, 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And I was actually taking the dogs and going through and checking the rig to make sure a bear hadn't crossed the road before I'd exercise them, just because I was trying to stay away from, running bears, because you're not supposed to. But, it's my property. And we ended up, we had one that they ended up running just because it ran across the road in front of them, but I avoided it for the most part. And, but there's too many bears. And the other thing is, they're not scared of people. They're not scared of going to homes. And if you did run a few of them, if they had that being legal, they would stay away from town. They're saying they're starving, we're moving into their territory. Bullshit. They're
Yeah.
going where it's easy to freaking find food and water and
Yeah.
everything else. They're not scared
Yeah.
of people. They're smart. They're just like a raccoon. They're going to get in anything they can if it's available. And they don't understand that if you haze them, with the dogs, you're actually protecting the bears in the long run, or whatever animals it is. Same thing with the lions. It's no different than in Montana and Wyoming with the grizzly bears. They're killing people because they can. They're not scared of them. But if they open the season up, and I went to Kotzebue, Alaska, and I don't know how many bears we saw, 4 or 5 bears a day, and I was grizzly bear hunting, and in the middle of nowhere. And when a bear smelled you, it never stopped running until, it probably didn't stop when you saw it 5 miles away going over the top of a mountain, because they know
Yeah.
human scent is danger. And that's a simple solution. You're not going to have bears in town if they hear dogs barking, if they've been ran by a dog and they know it's danger. So I don't know. That's kind of I get aggravated when I read that stuff, and I just don't make any comments, because nothing positive tends to come from it. You can argue and it doesn't matter. I've learned that the liberals are the keeper of all knowledge. They know everything. I've lived it for 58 years and managed predators, and they don't believe in managing them, and I do, and it's just a completely different philosophy. But I
And that's
believe
the
our
problem.
way. It is. It's
That's a bad
perception.
problem. Yeah. And that's a certain percentage of the anti-hunters hate you. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
hate
Yeah.
you.
Right.
I mean, Charlie Kirk shoots you in the neck. Nazi Hitler hate you.
Oh, exactly.
And nothing will ever change their mind otherwise. No,
Right.
you're not going to tell them we're trying to help the bears by hazing them, or we just want to run into. Screw you. They hate you. There's no compromise. There's no nothing.
Right.
But
No, I agree.
and that goes to the fact that it really don't matter what we post on the internet, because they're going to hate you whether your dog lives in the house or not. It's those people in between. It's those people, the non-hunters,
Yeah.
that you have
Yes.
to change the narrative. You have to get to them before they get to them, and even
Like
if they get to them,
the independents in an election.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
Democrats and the Republicans ain't going to solve it. It's going to be the independents. Who'd they sway with, and but there's no. I mean, I have some days where I feel like we need to. Everybody should post whatever they want to normalize the behavior and normalize. One thing that I don't like, and Troy, I've said it a few times, is I kind of don't like it when hunters in general, really push like hunting for food. We're
Right,
hunting for
right.
food. You don't kill coyotes for food.
No, you don't.
No one does, and
No.
and I don't like pushing that, because then they can use our own words again. Okay, well, y'all eat deer, you can hunt deer. Y'all eat hogs, you can hunt hogs, and it's and at the same time, I understand clearly on the next day, after I've had my little fit, there's a lot of people in this country that they don't care what you do. It's none of their business. They're never exposed. They don't even know who you are. The thought of hound hunters has never even crossed their minds. And you show them a video of 12 hounds ripping apart a baby bobcat, and they're going to say, yes, I would vote to outlaw that. Yeah,
Right.
I think that should be, it's both ways. It's as far as where it comes to the posting stuff, Derek's right. If everybody just quit posting hound stuff tomorrow, it would be bad for hound hunters,
Right.
but a lot of people post stuff that probably shouldn't be posted, and then we've got a few guys like you, Troy, that, post a lot of stuff in a positive light. And so
We need more of that for sure.
that is undoubted, that undebatable.
Hmm.
Those are the guys that need the popularity, not the
Yep.
guys that are just killing stuff,
Right.
Yep.
So now I'm a bobcat hunter. I run a few mountain lions, but I hunt bobcats. So I'm obviously not hunting for food,
Right.
and
Well, even if you
and
ate the bobcat, right? Even if you ate it, they don't care because that dog's still tearing it apart.
yeah,
So
But
they
my
don't care.
point is I hunt bobcats, and I ain't never going to eat one, and so that's why I don't like, kind of pushing that agenda.
Yeah.
And
I think that is a pandering thing. It's pandering to the anti. Oh, we eat what we hunt or whatever. I think that's pandering, and that's the same thing
yeah,
as like hard
yes,
or the
I
same
think
thing
that
as not posting, certain things if it's not like, obviously nobody wants to like if it's not legal.
a prime example, Chris. Several times tonight, you've mentioned that we shouldn't post pictures or videos of a dog biting a bear. How many videos are there of dogs ripping wild hogs apart on the internet?
oh yeah,
Millions. And no one, it's like they get a pass, And it's
Right.
funny. I don't understand the anti-honey bunny huggers infatuation with predators. I mean,
I don't think
that
they
you
have
can put all that
infatuation.
hog hunting stuff and it'd be nothing. You put one video of a dog chewing on a bear and holy shit, or a mountain lion. It's
It's I
just
think
Once they're,
weird.
I think once they're done with the lion, they go to the bear. Once they're done with the bear, once those are gone,
Big.
they'll
Yes.
they'll start
Oh, they'll
going to the
go.
coyotes and the
Yep.
hogs and the coon, the raccoon.
Yeah.
it's not that the bunny huggers are infatuated with the predators. It's that the general, like Joe Public, is infatuated with predators.
But
It's a
I
powerful
guarantee you,
when they've never seen it. You know what I mean?
if 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 tomorrow I posted a video of dogs ripping a bobcat apart, I would get so much flack
Oh
from
yeah.
hound hunters across
Yep.
the country.
Yep.
And if the next day Derek posted a video of his catch dogs ripping a hog apart, none of the hound hunters would say shit. And it's just weird how, like I mentioned earlier, from an ethical standpoint, what difference does it make? And
What makes a hog
that's
eating different than a
goes to
lion?
show you.
And in
Yeah.
that, and
Why is it okay for a dog to chew on a pig but not a lion?
and the thing that kind of makes me think sometimes is in that aspect, we are no different than the bunny huggers. Because every rabbit, every mouse, every lizard in the kale field dies when they flood irrigate that joker to feed them their salads, and they don't care. But if we kill a
Yeah.
deer or a bobcat or bear, what have you, oh, we're the devil, and we're the same way. Like, and like we've all done it. No, when they post the video, stretching that coyote in Michigan years ago, And a bunch of us running dogs over in that country got in trouble over it, and they tried to like cut the dog running season out. We all run that guy out of town on a rail, you know.
Yeah.
But like you say, nobody's ever been like, oh, these pig hunters, they're ruining it for everybody, you know. We're just the same as they are. We got to
Yeah.
be, and you know, we got all over that guy last year that was talking about desensitizing the public with all these Western videos. I forget his name, but
Dean Ross.
yeah, and we all got in his tail, but there might be something to that, you know.
But that's what Cody's saying is he can get away with it. We can't.
But can he get away with it for some weird reason, or can he get away with it?
Because they
we
made the lion majestic. That's what they do. They put it on
Yeah.
this pedestal.
Yeah.
It-
But we can get away with it amongst the hound hunting communities. He can. I'm not even talking about bunny huggers.
yeah.
And so, you know, it's just this complicated weave, you know, of all these different things. And unfortunately, the solution is probably not how do we maintain our hound hunting rights, but it's possible that our future is how do we prolong our hound hunting rights, and because a lot of them are going to go anyways, you know. And I mean, I've thought that. I really have. I mean, I have thought in the past that it's in my lifetime or my kids' lifetime, hound hunting will be shunned, mostly illegal across the country. And, you know, at the same time, I thought there was no way that the majority of America would vote for Donald Trump. So it's funny how the country shifts, you know.
Well,
I
I've always
think-
said it has to be a trend.
I think
it has
I think
to be a trend.
our only hope is to try to change the culture of the general public, and like the tradition and the past and all that, the heritage. That's not going to do anything to people that didn't grow up with it. But if we can if we can attach ourselves to wildlife management, like, and I know I always bring up Northern Europe, but the way they do it there, the dog is so attached to wildlife management and the shortening the suffering time of wildlife in all aspects. We can get that, then we can be safe. I think that's our best shot. You know, that's like the blood tracking dogs are a huge thing. If we show how much more ethical hunting with the dog is, and we cram it in everybody's mouth forever until it becomes common knowledge to people that don't even hunt, I think that's what I
But it's
think.
not only information, it's like a pyramid, right? You take one person out, you get him into hound hunting, and then he's going to take his buddy, who's going to take his buddy. So that's where your pyramid grows to where, you know, I've taken people out hunting and all of a sudden they got dogs or they're hunting. And how many people have you ever talked to? I always ask people, do you hunt? I just talked to a guy 2 days ago, had a felony in California like 20, 30 years ago. I said, man, you file for your rights back because he wants to go hunting. He hasn't hunted because of that. So there's a lot of people. How many people ask people if they hunt and they'll say, when I was a kid, or man, I haven't hunted for 20 years because they're busy with life. So I think
but I'm not talking about growing the number of hunters. I'm talking about attaching dogs to wildlife management in such a way as to.
I don't see how that. I don't see how that would happen comparable to like Scandinavia or wherever you're talking about. But I mean, let me ask each of y'all this question and just give a percentage answer or however you want to do it. But how many, and from 5 different locations across the country, how many hound hunters do you think there are today versus 20 years ago?
Man, I almost want to
30
say
years ago.
I almost want to say there's a little bit more in our area, in the in here. because there's a lot of people that didn't hunt hounds where I live, and now all of a sudden there's a lot of hound guys, and that's just what I see in my area, Sholo area, White Mountains area, because a
I would
lot
say
of kids got out and started hunting hounds.
nationally, there's way more now because there's just like when I was a kid 20 years ago, you know, there was a lot of people had coon dogs. Some people had rabbit dogs. I don't even know if I know of anybody had like one guy with a squirrel dog. The pigs weren't as far reaching as they are now, you know. But now, like I mean, there's a grillion guys that got a squirrel dog, got a coon dog, and like the coon
Troy, what
industry alone.
what do you think?
I don't think it's. I would say it's probably increased a little bit. I know a couple guys that got out of it, but there's several younger guys that have gotten hounds. Not may not have a lot of them. I'd say it's probably increased in this area too.
Benny?
I think it's game specific. You
That
got
is
to
the
you got to start with the game because
yeah.
I don't think that coon hunting has probably changed a whole lot because that's coon hunting is in coon hunting country. That's a rite of passage. That's a family affair. That's a, you know, but if you get out west and you get into the lion and the bear hunting, from where I started, I think it's gone 10,000 fold. It's become more popular. It's become the in thing to do, and it's you know. But we're talking about I'm the old guy here, and I started this stuff when I was in my 20s, seriously, and so it's a long time ago. And
And
things have just
here's
changed. We didn't have the forms of communication to share it with people all across the globe like we do today.
and here's where different factors change things. And I was talking earlier about Texas being private land and how everything's different.
Uh-huh.
I would say 10% now compared to 30 years ago, probably. There's there's 90% fewer hunters than there was 30, 40 years ago.
Is that because of private land?
I think so. I think that hunting area has become harder to find. The biggest problem is hunting areas that are large enough to hunt in South Texas and there's still some lion hunters in West Texas and there's some youngs it you know there's some young hunters in West Texas. um South Texas bobcat, I mean, on the things that have, I mean, I have pictures out in my kennels of the South Texas wolf hunt is what they used to call it, and it's a coyote hunt, but uh, from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And I've got pictures of 100, maybe 150 people, all gathered there with different dogs, and they have a contest, low fence trophy, and now I bet there's not. I bet there's not half a dozen outside wolf hunter, coyote hunters in the state of Texas. It's just not a thing anymore. And so, and that's funny. Versus where in New Mexico or Colorado, you just go buy a dog, you go hunting tomorrow. You don't have to. Yeah, I travel a lot more than I used to hunt because in the 20 years I've been hunting, all the ranches here by me have, I mean, it's become difficult to find a ranch over 1,500 acres around me, you know. And so I always enjoy it when you guys say there's more hunters now because I mean, when I started hunting 20 years ago, I bet there was 6 bobcat hunters within a 2-hour drive of my house. And now it's probably a solid 3-hour drive just to get to the next one, you
Yeah.
know. but that's bobcats. But there's no coon hunters, you know. But there is a lot more hog hunters than there used to be, you know. So Benny's kind of right. It's game specific, but
And I think technology plays a big part because I think if we had beep beep colors still, a lot of these young guys probably wouldn't be as excited to
yeah,
get out there.
yep. Oh, I don't know that I would be as excited to get out there.
Oh man.
And I didn't
Wouldn't be
even bother.
excited.
I didn't even worry about those kind of, I just went and listened to my dogs. But I
Yeah,
started hunting with ranchers, and that's what they did. They just stayed out there horseback and tried to follow their dogs. So it's just there's been I think that the easiest one word sum up, Cody, is the one you used. It's complicated.
yeah.
And
But
guys, I'm
that
gonna
does
go to bed.
that does it does bring me joy to hear everyone else say that there's more hunters, though. Benny, get me some of them white cheese nachos and some fry breads and some of that green chili stew ready, because
Uber.
I'm coming. You think I'm joking
Hey,
too? You think
no,
I'm
no,
joking too?
Cody,
That's the
Cody, listen, there's one thing I know about you. You're a very serious young man. There's not a whole lot of toy. When you're joking, we know you're joking. And I spent a little bit of time with you. So you are more than welcome anytime. My first wife
I'm
will have everything set up and I'll bring the chuck wagon home and we'll cook outside.
we'll sure do it. We'll see
You
you,
guys have
Benny.
a good evening.
All right.
Thanks.
Well, I sure hate to leave good company, but I'm on 4%. So
Yeah, and we've been on for 2 hours. I forgot to tell Troy we get off on tangent rabbit holes.
yes,
But I mean, this. I think this time though, we actually talked about some good stuff, and it's just stuff that needs to be kind of put out there and for people to think about. You
Troy,
know,
what's your deal? What's your handle? How do I find your
Troy Biddle.
stuff?
Just yeah, it's like Biddle.Troy on TikTok, and Facebook's just Troy Biddle.
Troy
Yep.
Biddle.
Yep. Same thing on Instagram. And
I'll send you some.
I was really reluctant to, share much on the dogs at first. And then when I started filming them, and then once I started getting positive feedback, that's when it was, once you start seeing something positive like that, it's like,
Yes.
hey, I'm making a little bit of a difference. So that's what I was trying to accomplish.
But Troy's like the rest of us too. When you start bragging on him about it, he kind of shuts down, and you get kind of embarrassed. We
Well,
all
that's
do.
true. I mean, yeah, and it's no different when I was talking to Chris about the exercise and stuff. I don't like taking videos of myself or pictures, and it's with the dogs the same way. My buddy that I hunt with, he no pictures, never any pictures, and it's just the old way of doing
Yeah.
things. And I think we can make a difference on some positive stuff like that now. So it's but it is embarrassing
I think that's
sometimes
the
too.
way to go. Period. Is the
I do too.
positive way.
I do too.
Yeah.
I from the feedback I've got, I would agree. I think I've had some people that absolutely hated hound hunting that are like, "Hey, you've completely changed my mind." And that makes you smile.
Yep. And you can post your other videos, but I just think for every video you post, whether
That's
it's
the way I
chasing or
am,
shooting,
Jim.
you should
That's
paste. Which one?
I am the best bobcat hunter in the Rio Grande Valley, and that is an undisputed, undeniable fact. And it's because all of the good hunters have died, and I'm just the last one.
So you're not.
But technically, that does make me the best.
Still number one.
Yeah.
You're just the last one standing.
Yeah, Norman.
Hey, I'll take that. I'll take
Norman Davidson and Ruben Lossman and Jim Mills and Willie Gonzalez quit and a few other guys in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. It's a small section. There's other very, very good, much better than me cat hunters a little further north. But yeah, when I used to hunt with like you say, there's 10 different guys, and a couple of them quit. Most of them died, and destined to hunt alone when I go. They kind of all screwed me, to be honest with you. I was there, and it was, I was there for them when they needed somebody to go with, and then and it's
Kind of
like
selfish of them.
what the hell, guys? So, but there may be, and because of the area that we live at, I knew Norman Davidson my whole life. I hunted hogs, and Norman was a cat hunter, and I wanted to cat hunt. And when I was 20 years old, I was a young kid. Norman told me, he said, I won't help you get started cat hunting. He said, the Rio Grande Valley, the future of hound hunting in the Rio Grande Valley is not pretty. It's over with. This region that we live in, it's you just, I'm not going to help you get started. He said, if you get started, I'll hunt with you and I'll show you what I know, but I'm not going to help you get started because I like you too much. And you're going to be destined to, a life of headaches. And he was, kind of the last one that hunted this real southern tippy region. And I was mad at Norman for a long time for telling me that, not helping me get started. And I don't know that I would want to help a young kid get started in this area, and it's just gotten worse. I mean, it's over with. With that, I'm an hour and a half drive from some pretty decent country, 3 hour drive from real good country. But man, all the stuff that I've hunted close to it's just subdivisions and been cut up and cleared and farmland. And, the worst problem in Texas in general, and West Texas is still okay, but anywhere else is, that there was one ranch. It was 50,000 acres, and the guy and the woman had 2 kids, and they died, and they split it up. And now there's 2 ranches that were 25,000 acres, and they had 2 kids. So now there's 4 ranches of 12,500 acres. And then now there's 8 ranches of 62,000 and 6250. And then 3125. Well, now all the ranches are getting to be 1,500 acres, and that's just not enough to run a bobcat on. It's just not. And so it's a thing of a past down here. I don't know that there'll ever be another bobcat hunter here in the Rio Grande Valley.
Once you lose that land, you don't get it back. Once that
Yeah.
farmland gets concrete on it, you'll
Yeah.
never
That's it.
see farmland ever again.
And it's just the prices. I mean, no one is going to buy farmland for $17,000 an acre,
Yeah.
but they'll buy it to build a house on 5 acres. And,
Right.
so, I mean,
Well, $17,000 an acre, you could put 20 houses on an acre.
yeah. But it's all.
His phone died. Bet you his phone died. He
I'm
said
there.
he was at 4%. His phone died. His phone always dies on our. Listen, let me tell you something about Cody. I send him, and he always looks at my text, and he says, "I'm not getting on. I'm going to bed." And then we'll say something when he's listening. He'll jump on.
Yeah, jump
He'll
on.
stay on. I think last week he stayed on for 45 minutes or 30, and that was the shortest ever. Roy, we appreciate you coming on, and I'll
Absolutely.
start
No.
posting a lot of your stuff, and I think we can look at your stuff and learn from ourselves, like for ourselves, what to post. And I just think every video you post catching something, you need to post 5 videos of what got you there.
No, I
just little
agree.
stuff like that. So
I agree. Well, I appreciate you having me on too.
no problem, and we won't hold against you that you went to Chris first. I'll never let him live that down.
Oh, there you go.
I did ask you first, probably though.
You did. You did.
You were in
Yeah.
Alaska, and we just never hooked up. But
Right.
I'm glad you came on and
Where'd you go?
told
Tom?
us your story. What's that?
What unit did you do your goat hunt in, Troy?
What's that? I'm sorry.
So you did a mountain goat hunt in Alaska?
Yeah, I was in Valdez. Yeah,
Okay.
went to Valdez. Yes. Yeah. Really good hunt. Tough country, but it was
Mountains up there.
successful.
Derek
Hiked a
was up
long
there a
ways.
while.
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah.
Okay.
I come here from there. So I was
That's
just,
cool. I
But
really
he's
like
from
that
back
country
east.
up there. Yeah. You're back. Where are you from now?
now I'm in Arizona.
Okay. I got
Yeah.
you. That's cool.
Yeah.
But you started out back in Virginia, right? Indiana? Where'd you start
Started
out?
out in Arkansas, East Kentucky. I run a whole bunch around East Kentucky, West Virginia. I lived in Indiana for a long time. Spent some
We're at in
time
Indiana.
Franklin County, so Crawford
Okay.
State. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Right
Well, I
there,
didn't know.
Chris Powell country.
Well, that's what I mean. I wasn't very far from Chris Powell. I never met him until social media. So that was kind of funny too. And he even
I
worked in Terre
love
Haute, which is where I was. So
You guys probably is out in the same area coon hunting.
exactly. Yeah. He said,
I-
I'm surprised we didn't cross paths at some point.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, it
talking. We
only took 40 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, he knows all the places I was talking about when I had him on. He knows my uncle and my cousins and all them.
Mhm.
That's cool.
It's a small world.
It
Yeah,
is
it
too.
is.
All right, Troy. Well, we'll let you get to bed or
Yep. We'll see you guys. Thank you. It's nice meeting
appreciate
you
you
guys.
coming on.
Yes, sir. Thanks. Bye.
All righty. And we still got spots open on this. So I think I haven't checked today or yesterday. I think there was a couple more on there. I still need to buy 2 or 3. So there's probably going to be there should be anywhere from 8 to 10 spots left for this. So heck of a deal. Go to azwja.com and buy a ticket. So we can change the narrative. That's my goal now, is to change the narrative. That's going to be my offense. I just got to get a plan together. I'm putting together the whole hazing program, putting together some petitions. So I just want it to be right. I don't want to look stupid when we go in.
Yep.
Other
Absolutely.
than that, if you want to become a member, azwda.com. What else we got? Anything coming up?
I don't think so.
I
Nothing
don't think so either.
anytime soon.
Nothing but Netflix in my bed. Actually, I watch YouTube and I'll fall asleep. So, all righty. Well, we see you next week. We'll see everybody next week.
All right.
Till then, laters.
Well, bye.